If you've ever used fetch and useEffect to manage API calls, you know how much of a pain and a headache it can become on even small scale applications. This is why I love TanStack Query, also known as React Query, because it handles all of that nonsense like caching, cache invalidation, and refetching behind the scenes for you. TanStack Query is amazing, and in this video I want to give you an overview of what TanStack Query is, how you can use it, and give you some examples of it in real-world projects. Welcome back to Web Dev Simplified. My name's Kyle and my job is to simplify the web for you so you can start building your dream project sooner. And in this video, we're going to be talking about TanStack Query. Now, most of you probably know this as React Query because it was originally React Query, but TanStack has made Query so you can use it inside of a bunch of different frameworks beyond just React. That's why the name is changed to TanStack Query, but most people know this as React Query. Now, the thing that's so great about this is the fact that it handles pretty much everything you could ever want with accessing a server, all for you behind the scenes. And this really means that you can spend your time working on writing your actual code for your project, which is the fun stuff, instead of worrying about handling things like caching and cache invalidation, because as everybody knows, caching is an absolute pain, and this just takes care of it for you. So for pretty much the rest of this entire video, I want to go through a simple example project of how I use React Query inside of this and all the different features that it has. Now, this isn't going to be a full-blown tutorial covering everything there is to know about React Query. I'm going to have a video on that coming out later. I'll link in the cards and at the end of this video for you. But essentially, I just want to give you an overview of what this is so you can get an idea if this is something that you want to use in your project or if it's something you're going to pass on. So for this very simple project, all we have essentially a list of posts. And you can see if I click on one of these posts, it's going to load information about that post with a body, a title, as well as the person that wrote that. And if I click on their name, I can see all the different posts that they have written. Now, if I go back to my post page, you can see I also have a paginated version of this. So I can click the next and the previous button, as well as like an infinite scrolling version where I click this load more button, and I can constantly load more results on the bottom of the screen. Also, you'll notice something really interesting, this little like flowery kind of looking icon. If I click on that, and I'll just expand my page so it's easier to see, and I'll move my camera out of the way for you for a second, you can see here, this is the dev tools essentially for the TanStack query. And it's telling us all of the different queries that we're making on our page. And it's giving us information on if they're stale, if they're inactive, if they're fresh, if they're in the process of fetching. And I can, say, hey, I want to refetch this, and it's going to refetch that for me. I can invalidate it if I want to. I can reset it. I can do a bunch of stuff like that. So this is really good because it gives you the dev tools on what's going on. So it's really easy to debug problems. And as you can see, I have tons of data on every single thing that's being returned here. So now we can just close out of that real quick. I'll get my screen back to how it was before, and I'll move my camera back down, and we can go through the actual code for how this works. So the very first step to using TanStack Query is you just need to wrap your application inside of a query client provider, and you give it a query, which in our case is just a brand new query client. So it's nothing fancy. We're just essentially doing the same thing you'd do with like React Router. So we're just wrapping our app like that. And then you can see here I have my dev tools that I'm just appending on the end. That's what's giving me this icon down here. If I remove that, you can see that our dev tools are now removed. It's just a nice quality of life feature to have when you're in development. Now, I kind of want to go through the most simple example possible, and this example is just a really simple post page. This is the page you're looking at right here, essentially. If I go to my normal view, this is the page you're looking at. And as you can see here, we have this useQuery function. It's a custom hook part of TanStack Query, and this is where all of the magic of TanStack Query happens. So this useQuery, you give it a key, and then you give it a function. In our case, this function is getPost. When you pass a function to a query function, it just needs to be any function that returns a promise. If we just go to that function real quick, you can see I'm using Axios to make a GET request to my API, and I'm telling it to sort by title, and then it's just returning me a data, which is just a list of all of our posts. And as you can see, we have all of our posts being printed out here, and they're ordered by title, just like I would expect. So super simple, but I could replace this with something else. I could just say return new promise, and I could, just give it some data inside of here. So I could just say resolve. I could just resolve with any data I want, whatever it is. And that's also going to return to it. So let me just give it an empty array. So this will actually render out something to the screen. And now if I click save and I refresh, you can see now I have an empty array. So nothing's being printed out. So it just has to be any type of promise. Generally, though, it's going to be something like Axios or fetch making a request for you. So the other thing that's important about this is the query key. So the idea behind React Router is everything is based on these keys. If I look inside of here, you can see my key for this is that post. That's what's showing up in my dev tools. And the key is just a unique identifier that says this is what this API route is. So in our case, I'm getting a list of all my posts. So my key is just post. And you can pass as many things as you want to these keys, anything, it doesn't matter, strings, arrays, objects. It just needs to be something that is unique for that actual, URL. So in my case, this is my post URL, so I'm using post as my key. And the really great thing about that is now it's going to cache the results for that post in the background. So if I ever go to another page that uses the same key, it's just going to get the cache data and then refetch in the background for me and show me the updated data when it's available. So this is a really cool thing that this key right here, this one simple line of code, does all of my refetching and caching and validation for me. That's where all of the magic is happening. Now, the other thing that's really cool about this is that we have all of our standard data being returned to us, plus a bunch of other things. You can see I have tons of information I can pull out of here if I want, but the main things you're going to want is like a status, the error, as well as your data, which in our case is our list of different posts. So very standard stuff you would expect from any type of fetching related library. And you'll notice if I inspect my page here and I'll just throttle my network. So if I just go to the network tab, I can click that I want to throttle this to be a, let's say a fast 3G connection. So it's going to be a relatively slow. When I refresh my page, it's going to take a while for it to load. And as soon as my React content downloads, you should see the text loading appear on the screen. And that's because right here, if my status is loading, it'll show the text loading. And if there's an error, I'll show the error. So you saw that it said loading for a very brief second, and then it actually loaded the content on the page. Let's remove that throttling for now, and let's go to a slightly more complex example. So what we can do is let's look at an individual post real quick. You can see when I open this up, we have information about the title, the user of the post, as well as the actual content of the post. So if we go to our post component here, you'll notice something really interesting. We have our normal useQuery right here, which is getting all of our post-related data. And something else that's interesting is since this is a post on a particular ID, you can see I'm using my query key as post to say that this is getting a post, and then I'm passing it the actual ID that I'm querying. So in our case, 30 is the ID of this post right here. And my function here is just getting the post. But you'll also notice I have a function that's getting the user information as well. And that's because by default, a post just has a user ID, and I want to show the user's name. So I first need to get my post, and then once that's done, I can get my actual user. This is something that's normally pretty complicated to do with just a normal type of fetch and use effect system, but in our case with this is really easy. So we have our first query here. This is pretty much identical to what we had in our post here. It's just a different key and a different function, otherwise exactly the same. The second one has an additional property passed to it called enabled though. And what this property is saying is don't run this query until this returns true. So in our case, we're waiting until we get our post and we make sure that it has a user ID. So we first download our post, and then if that post has a user, which it should, then it's going to get the user for that post and return that information. Here, I'm just checking to make sure everything's working fine. So when we're loading our user here, you can see I'm setting my username to loading in the case that it is currently being loaded. So if I change this back to a slow 3G connection, I just went over to my network, changed this to a slow 3G connection. I'll go back to my all posts, and I'm just going to click on a random post here. Well, sorry, that one was already loaded. Let's try one we haven't loaded, like this one. You can see it says loading because it's downloading the post. And now you can see that it's waiting to download the user, and then it printed out the user right there. Now, if we wanted to show the text loading instead, what I can do is I can just change this here to be something along the lines of username. There we go. And now if I save and I go back to my post and just choose when we haven't loaded, you should see it'll say the text loading for us. There you go, it says loading. It'll probably say the name twice, but that's fine. This is just for testing purposes, so you can see that that's what's going on. Now you did notice though, when I clicked on a post that I'd already downloaded, it instantly loaded up the information for me. That's something that's really nice about this library is because of these keys. I've already downloaded the information for post number 30. So instead of re-downloading that information again, what it's going to do is it's going to show me the old version, and then in the background, it's going to re-download that information and then show me the new information. We can actually see that happening inside of our dev tools here. So what I want to do is I just want to go back to all my posts, and I'm going to click on that same post, and you should see down here, we look at this, these are blue, which means that it's refetching that data. So it's showing me the old version of the cache data, and then it's refetching the data in the background, and if it's changed, it's going to show me that new and updated information. Again, super nice that this is all taken care of for you, and really, it's just a few lines of code I'm writing, and it's doing all of that for me. Now that right there pretty much covers how you would actually do all your different fetching related stuff. Now what I want to do is talk about what happens when we want to create a post. So I have this view right here for creating a post. I pass it a title, a body, click create, and it's going to create a post for me. And I can show you if I just type in, let's say A, B, 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 and then we'll just give the body, actually it's just like 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Hit create. We're still in the slow mode. Let me disable that so we don't have to worry about that. We'll get rid of all the throttling. There we go. So now you can see it's returned to us that post 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's given some body content into it. And you can see that post is showing up right here. Super straightforward. So what's happening, the way to make this work is instead of doing a query, you're using a mutation here. A mutation is anytime you want to change data on your server, so like a post or a put request, for example, you would use a mutation here. And the only difference is the mutation just takes a mutation function, which in our case is just a function that calls our API and passes along some information for what we want our post to be. And then whenever this is successful, you can use an onSuccess, or for example, like an onError. In our case, we're using an onSuccess to say once this post has been successfully created, what I want to do is navigate to that post using React Router. And then what I'm doing is I'm setting my data for my actual client. Now this is really important here because once I've actually created a post, I have all my data for my post already. So instead of going to the post page and then refetching that data, instead what I'm telling TanStack Query is what I want you to do is I want you to cache that information using this key. So it's the same key we would use over here, post and then ID. So I'm using that post ID key. So now when I try to access this new post that I just created, it's just going to get the data from the cache. I'll show you exactly what that looks like. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throttle my network. So we'll come in here, we'll turn us down to slow 3G, create post, type in our title, which is just going to be 2345, random body text. I'm going to comment out this line. So it's not going to do that saving of the cache. So when I click create here, it's going to load, and that's it actually creating the post. Now we're on the post page, and now it's having to refetch that data. You saw we had 2 sets of loading. Let me bring that line back in and go back to create a brand new post, 345, blah, 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 blah. Hit create, and we're loading. That's creating the post. And then as soon as that's done, it instantly brings us to this page. And that again is because it's already been cached. So it's showing us the cached information and then refetching in the background for us. You'll also notice this in effect. If we go back to the all post page, you'll notice we don't have that post yet, but now you can see it just popped up on the screen. That's because it was showing us the old cache version of our all post. And then in the background, it's downloading the new data and showing it to us. I'll show that again. I'll do one called 444. And you can see when we go back to all post, you'll notice that that is not in our list. You can see it's not right here, but after a little bit that appears because it is fetched in the background. This is super cool, and I love that this is all handled for you. Also for this mutate, all that you need to do to make this work is it returns to you a mutate function, and this mutate function is what you call, and that mutate function is essentially whatever you pass right here. So it's just taking that function that you pass into here, and it's returning it to you right here for you to call at a later time. Now the final 2 things I want to talk about are pagination and infinite scrolling. I don't want to go super deep into them. I just want to show you that they're possible and relatively easy to do. So for our paginated route, you can see if I remove our throttling because it's quite slow, you can see that we can click this next and this previous button to go next and previous. And all we're doing right here is we're giving it a query key where we're passing in an object with the value of our page as the actual key here. And then our function is just calling get post paginated. And all this does is take in a page and do some pagination for us. Pretty straightforward stuff. So it's super simple. Pagination works pretty much exactly the same as normal fetching. The only key here is you pass this keep previous data true. And that's just going to make sure your old data stays on the screen until the new data is loaded. If I remove this and I do my throttling again, so I just throttled our connection, I click next. Let me just refresh here real quick so we have our cache completely wiped for us. So that'll just take a second here. Let me remove the throttling, put it back on. There we go. So if I click next, you're going to see all of our data disappears and then it's going to reappear. This line of code right here is just making sure that doesn't happen. So now when I click next, you can see that it's doing this all fine. And you can see it says loading at the top here. And that's because I can just check my fetching status. So the really cool thing about React Query or TanStack Query is it has 2 different statuses. You have a normal status of like finished loading, and then you have a fetching status for every time it refetches data. So it's really easy to know whether or not you're in the first load or a refetch in our case. Now, infinite scrolling is very similar, but you use a different function called useInfiniteQuery. And this is a little bit more complex because you need to pass it a few more properties for like determining how you can get the next piece of data. So like when I scroll down and I click my load more button here, it needs to know what the actual data is that it's trying to load and what page you're on. A little bit more complex, but overall it's fairly simple and it gives you features like infinite scrolling such as this. And that's all there is to TanStack Query. I hope you're as excited about this library as I am, and if you are, you're definitely going to want to check out my full tutorial, which I'll have linked right over here as soon as I finish creating it. With that said, thank you very much for watching and have a good day.